Hello. Welcome to the Radical Audacity Podcast. I'm Tiffany Kane, your host, and I'm here today to talk to you about living life a little more audaciously, right? Like, how do we live in a way where people look at us and go, the audacity, right? It's all about living in our own truth and integrity and personal courage and showing up authentically as ourselves, even when it's really, really, really hard to do that. And I'm exploring an area of myself that is really, really hard right now for me to show up the way I feel I'm being called to show up. Let me tell you what I mean. It's all about politics. I have very strong feelings and drive about a lot of political issues. However, I have been conditioned my entire life to not voice my political opinions. As a young girl, I was raised in a very high control religion, aka a cult. And we were supposed to be separate from the world and have absolutely no opinion on politics whatsoever. We were completely separate from any politics whatsoever. Never said the Pledge of Allegiance in my life until I was an adult. Never voted. We couldn't serve in the military. Any of those things. And it's interesting because my grandfather was an Air Force test pilot, and he served on the early missions with the astronauts exploring space. And he was very, very involved in that. And, very involved as an officer, went to war several times as a pilot and all kinds of stuff. And my father was actually in the military when I was young. And then when we converted to that religion, he left. He had to be a conscientious objector and leave his military career, which actually sent our family into really challenging financial hardship because he was young, uneducated. Those of you that know my story, my parents were teenagers when they had me, 17 and 18 years old. My mom was 16 when she got pregnant with me, turned 17 shortly after I was born. And my father was 17, turned 18 right before I was born. So they were young, and he joined the military to raise his family. Long story short, I was raised in that religion and raised to believe that I couldn't have any political opinions, no political involvement. Fast forward to being an adult and leaving that religion, I got into a career that really encouraged me to be quiet about my political opinions. I was a teacher, and we really couldn't be vocal about political things on social media. I couldn't wear shirts supporting any political party or, any political avenue whatsoever. And I couldn't have anything on my car. And so I lived the first 48 years of my life not really able to let my political views be publicly known. Now, as an adult, I had very strong political views, and they were very shifting, right? I was constantly learning because as a young person, I wasn't allowed to even think about politics. So then here I am at 20 years old, dipping my toes in politics and trying to understand what I believed in, what was important to me, what did I value. And I went through a lot of exploration. But again, I couldn't be out loud about that. I couldn't let anybody know. And now here I am in this third phase of my life as a business owner and a podcaster and somebody getting out there in the world and raising the volume of my voice and letting my voice be heard and showing up authentically. And I feel really compelled to get involved politically and to make a statement and to put forth effort for the things that I believe in. But here's the rub. I'm a business owner, right? So inevitably, doing that is going to alienate some people. I remember talking to a potential client, and in the conversation, I'm not quite sure exactly how it came up, but I talked about how I feel passionate about supporting people whose voices traditionally were marginalized, and that includes people in the LGBTQ community. Well, this client did not agree with my viewpoint. And of course, I lost them as a client, which really didn't upset me. I really want to help people that are aligned. I don't have to agree with my clients politically, but at the same time, I want to have people in my circle that I feel morally good working with. And that often means that even if we don't 100% agree politically, at least we can find common ground, right? That's all I need. I just want common ground. And so this person, I think, didn't feel like they could find common ground. And so here I am as a business owner, 49 years old, and I really want to get more involved politically. I really, really do. So that's what season 4 is all about. You guys have seen a little bit of shift in my podcast in season 4, where I'm really looking at disruptors and change makers. And I'm really focusing a lot on people making a difference politically and making a statement and making what they believe in known. My last guest was Kate Kelly, and she is a lawyer that is passionate about the Equal Rights Amendment. And so I've been posting more about that on my social media. And oh my God, it makes me so nervous. It is so funny. There's so much unlearning I've had to do to be able to talk about these things personally. It's one thing to interview somebody and have it be their viewpoints, but for me to put on my social media how important this topic is to me, this Equal Rights Amendment, uh, it brought up a lot of things for me, which is so interesting. And I'm so excited that season 4 is exploring these political topics that are important to me. I am going to have a guest on that is a scientist, and she really talks about how politics and science they're having a hard time right now, right? And she really, really, really works hard to educate people on science and why science is so important. And so I see her as a disruptor and a change maker. And plus, she's a woman in science and she's doing it differently. She's not following all of the rules. And I really think she's fabulous. Her name is Leah Elson. And then I'm coming up is another guest, Anna Deshawn. Oh my goodness, I love Anna Deshawn so much. Anna Deshawn's podcast just won an Ambie. She's amazing. She is a producer. She is a creator. She started an entire radio station just for Black voices and Black LGBTQ voices, and really is amplifying those voices and creating that space for these voices to get heard. And she has a whole series about that she did where she explored HIV in the South. And I thought that was so courageous, such a challenging topic, such an interesting thing to talk about. I am so excited for her podcast interview. I'm going to be interviewing somebody from a group called Emerge America, which they train women on how to be democratic leaders. And here's the thing I wanted to talk to you about today. I'm actually thinking of getting trained, of going through the process. I don't know if I actually ever want to be a full-blown politician, but I would love to understand the political machinery more. And I would love to understand how I could get more involved. Maybe it's working with people to train them to be more involved. I've got a platform. Maybe it's helping them get their voice out, starting podcast. I don't know. But in some way, shape, or form, I know I want to be more involved in politics. And so I'm thinking of going through their training program. It's pretty rigorous. It's pretty exciting. And it's a direction I never thought I would go in. So I am curious. I want to hear from you. Please reach out to me, DM me on my Instagram, um, whatever way you want to reach out to me, and let me know, are you politically active? Do you have strong political opinions? And if so, what have you found is the best outlet for your strong feelings and emotions on politics? I'm passionate about quality healthcare for all as a right, not a benefit of working at a corporate job. I mean, our healthcare should not be tied to our jobs. It's just ridiculous. And everybody should have the right to quality healthcare. I am passionate about education and education reform. I really think a lot of reform needs to happen in the education world. I am passionate about women's rights, women's reproductive rights. Women should have the ability to make decisions with them, their family, their doctor, and their spiritual leaders about what is right for them and their body. And it should not be the government telling them what they can and cannot do, whether it's I want to have lots of children, or it's I don't want to have children, or it's I don't want to have children right now. Whatever the decision is, I believe that women should have the right to make that choice, and I should have no part in taking that choice away. So I believe strongly in that. I believe strongly in the Equal Rights Amendment, that we need to have in the amendment of the Constitution, in the Constitution of the United States of America, we need to have an amendment that says, doesn't matter your gender, you have equal rights. That's what the Equal Rights Amendment says. Your gender doesn't matter. You have equal rights. Because right now there are some very gender specific things. Oh, I could go down the list of things I care about. I care deeply about the environment and doing things to protect the environment. I could go on and on. I don't want to make this too long, but I want to know, what do you care about and how do you make it known? Is it financially? Do you support a cause financially? Do you go out and march and participate in marches? Do you get involved in helping political candidates and grassroots and knocking on doors? What do you do? I want to hear what you do. I'm truly, honestly curious, because this is something I'm exploring and I want to get more active and involved. I really do. I want to see more women in politics. I want more women, more people of color, more LGBTQ people. I want those voices out there. It needs to be equal representation. That's my musings today. It's my thoughts today. And I'd love to hear from you. If this podcast is meaningful to you, and I certainly hope it is, I certainly hope it's meaningful. If this podcast is meaningful to you, will you please share it with a friend? I have a goal of doubling the listeners in the next month, but I can't do it without you. I would love to welcome new listeners in and really grow our community. So if you will help me with that, if you will share this episode with a friend, you would greatly help. This is the way that women find new podcasts. Did you know that 73% of women find their podcasts through referrals from friends and family? Yeah. We are such community builders and connectors. So share this podcast with a friend, please. And let me know that you shared it. DM me and let me know that you shared it so that I can thank you and shout you out. All right, my friends, be courageous. Go out there and raise the volume of your voice. I'm listening.